Hi, everyone. Thank you, commissioners. My name is Jeremy Payne, Associate Program Director of Equality California. I'm here to present on our LGBTQ plus unity maps that Equality California has prepared today. As I always do, a little bit about Equality California. We are the nation's largest statewide lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ plus civil rights organization with over 900,000 members. And I'm here to present on our LGBTQ plus unity maps, which identify the geographically connected LGBTQ plus communities in Sacramento, the Bay Area, Los Angeles, Long Beach, Coachella Valley, and San Diego specifically. These maps recommend district lines that will best unify our LGBTQ plus community and of course empower them to elect candidates of choice, both candidates who are LGBTQ plus themselves or candidates who are responsive to the LGBTQ plus community's needs. When developing these maps, our data was informed from membership data of local, state, and national LGBTQ plus organizations that all worked in a collaborative effort to make sure that the LGBTQ plus community was heard and to continue the historic precedent of LGBTQ plus input in California's redistricting process. Early on, I mentioned the Harvey Milk history lesson being the first openly gay man to serve as an elected official in California. And that was in thanks to fair and equitable redistricting in San Francisco back in the 1970s. So we like to continue that legacy in California. And so what I'll be presenting on is each of those regions. I'll first show a heat map that shows our LGBTQ plus community and our supporter index. Of course, with the density shown in darker colors, and then I'll overlay that with our Congressional, Senate, and Assembly recommendations. In my packet, there are boundary lines that show the neighborhoods. I won't be going over that in detail, but that is included in the presentation that I have submitted to the Voter Rights Act email. So starting first with Sacramento, we'll see our first heat map of the Sacramento region, the Sacramento LGBTQ plus community being concentrated in the downtown Midtown area that has seen elected officials such as Councilmember Steve Hansen, who formerly served in the Midtown area as it was recently redrawn in the 2011 redistricting cycle to make it an LGBTQ plus Lavender Heights district. So for our congressional districts, we like to keep that LGBTQ plus community at the core of our congressional district and build outwards, including our West Sacramento and our Eastern Sacramento regions, where we're starting to see a population growth out into the suburbs or surrounding communities of the downtown Sacramento area. So this is the neighborhood maps I will be skipping, but this will be included in the packet for review after my presentation. Our assembly districts are very similar to our congressional districts, of course, keeping that downtown LGBTQ plus community at the center and then building out to include West Sacramento, as well as our Eastern Sacramento regions here, including many of the neighborhoods. And as we go to our Senate district, you'll see that it is again very similar for the Sacramento region. Thankfully, because of population sizes, we're able to draw a Senate district that empowers the LGBTQ plus community, bringing in that LGBTQ plus community of interest in the West Sacramento region, and also being able to extend down into Elk Grove slightly over here, where we're starting to see many LGBTQ plus residents that are now identifying as supporters or members of the community and building into the kind of larger overall LGBTQ plus empowerment in the Sacramento region. And now I'm going to carry us over into the Bay Area. I like to separate it into three separate regions. I'm going to focus on the East Bay, San Francisco region, and then the South Bay. First, I'm going to start with the East Bay, talking about the history of electing LGBTQ plus candidates, especially at the local level. And there is the Oakland Pride Festival, as well as the LGBTQ plus center in the city of Oakland that has long served many of the members that you'll see on our heat map that live pretty much throughout the entire region of the East Bay. Often overlooked, not talked about, but there is a large concentration of LGBTQ plus folks and supporters in the East Bay. And we're fortunate to be able to draw a congressional district that nicely encapsulates pretty much the entire LGBTQ plus concentration here. But of course, Alameda County is a little bit larger than one congressional district. So there are a little bit of slivers that had to be cut out. And we focused on making sure that we kept the concentration at the core. For our assembly districts, you do see three assembly districts here. It's not one mega assembly district. We have District A up here that includes the Richmond area that we didn't see in the original heat map, but there is a large concentration of LGBTQ plus folks here that extends, of course, through that Berkeley and then Oakland suburbs, including Piedmont here. And then we're able to create an Oakland Assembly District, that's District B, that includes downtown Oakland through San Leandro and San Lorenzo down here, following the natural water line. And then we'll get to District C when I cross over into San Francisco. But first, let me show you the Senate district recommendation that we have as well. that fully captures the LGBTQ plus community of the East Bay with Alameda County, the Berkeley, Oakland, Piedmont, up into Richmond, and then the surrounding Contra Costa County region. So now I want to head over across the bay into San Francisco, where I started our story with Harvey Milk, and of course in the Castro neighborhood, that it's been an iconic LGBTQ plus neighborhood. We've also seen many severally openly LGBTQ plus candidates serve at the local, state level here, especially in the Castro and surrounding neighborhoods that head east and northeast in the San Francisco region. When it comes to our congressional districts, we're able to nicely draw a congressional district that almost fully captures the county of San Francisco, but our congressional district does capture the bulk of our LGBTQ plus community with respect to the Castro and surrounding neighborhoods, east and northeast here. And then for our assembly district, we're able to kind of be a little bit more of a fine cut of the LGBTQ plus community with our Castro surrounding neighborhoods as we head east and then northeast in the San Francisco region, keeping many of the supervisory districts that were iconic and held by LGBTQ plus candidates. Again, of course, because we want to respect the natural municipal lines of our districts when drawing our recommendations. For our Senate districts, we do dip into a larger region here that includes the northern tip of San Mateo County. That's just given the population requirements of our Senate districts that are quite large in California. So we do see a Senate district that is still an LGBTQ plus empowerment district because it keeps the core of our San Francisco LGBTQ plus community together with, of course, some of the LGBTQ plus friendly regions of San Mateo County. And now I'll do the South Bay. We're in San Jose, as well as our surrounding cities. We have seen openly LGBTQ representatives serve in the state legislature, as well as at the local level. And this region is, of course, has been very supportive of LGBTQ plus candidates at the local level, as well throughout the Silicon Valley Pass, which creates kind of a nice belt of LGBTQ plus supporters from downtown San Jose, where we have the Billy DeFrank LGBT Center, all the way up through Palo Alto and the Stanford region, including pretty much all of Santa Clara County, into one congressional district that we're able to nicely draw. So this is a nice congressional district that just makes sure that we keep as many of our LGBTQ plus communities of interest together as one rather than separating them significantly throughout the redistricting process. We're able to draw a Senate district that also resembles much of that nice kind of beltway of the South Bay, with San Jose here leading to Palo Alto and the Stanford region. We don't have an assembly district recommendation for this, but I will just drop us down to Southern California so we can start talking about Los Angeles and LA County as a whole. As you can imagine, a very large and robust, geographically spread out LGBTQ plus community, as you can see on our heat map. But there is essentially a geographic connection as we have our Silver Lake region, of course, the Black Cat Tavern riot of 1967. That's been a big moment in the LGBTQ plus liberation movement. And that connects with the Southern San Fernando Valley that is growing with population kind of move out of the urban areas into more suburbs, especially with our LGBTQ plus community. Our iconic West Hollywood region, and that spills out into the Pacific Ocean and follows our natural waterway through El Segundo, Redondo Beach, and Torrance, and then the RPV down here. So we're not able to draw that all into one congressional district, so we do have two congressional district recommendations with the dividing line along this Beverly Hills divider. We have an inland LGBTQ plus community of interest that empowers this West Hollywood, Silver Lake, and the new South San Fernando Valley LGBTQ plus area. And we have a West Side coastal LGBTQ plus community of interest that is tied to our ecological communities here, extending from Malibu all the way down to RPV, including Torrance, including our Marina Del Rey and Venice as a high LGBTQ plus density, as well as our Pacific Palisades over here of Santa Monica. For our assembly districts, it's very similar where we have to draw a dividing line throughout Beverly Hills and then create this core inland LGBTQ plus assembly district, keeping our Southern San Fernando Valley, our Silver Lake, Los Feliz, and Echo Park, and our West Hollywood, and then our West Side coastal community of Pacific Palisades, Malibu, Santa Monica, Venice, and Marina Del Rey region, keeping our community nicely together. And then for our Senate district, we're able to kind of jointly put this all together into one district that bridges the LGBTQ plus community throughout the entire LA County region. And I'd be remiss not to mention Long Beach when talking about LA County's LGBTQ plus community, but I wanted to bring attention to it separately because of the nice geographic breakdown of the LGBTQ plus community. that is pretty much within the full boundaries of the city, but primarily concentrated in the downtown Alamitos Beach, Belmont Shore, and the 4th Street Row Retro Row area where the Long Beach Center is located, the LGBTQ Center. So for our congressional districts, we're able to almost keep Long Beach whole, which has been a priority given that the LGBTQ plus population is widely spread out throughout the city. And we have connected that with Signal Hill, Lakewood, Cypress, Seal Beach, and Huntington Beach, making sure that we understand the congressional interest of the ecological preservation of the coastline and bringing that into other coastal communities and understanding that these two cities here, Long Beach and Huntington Beach, have been able to locally elect LGBTQ plus candidates. When it comes to our assembly districts, we're able to just draw, again, an assembly district that almost fully captures all the city of Long Beach boundaries of this region here, but again, ties it into the Seal Beach, Cypress, Signal Hill area, making sure that we keep Long Beach as whole as possible, understanding the breakdown of the LGBTQ plus community heat map. And then for our Senate district, we are able to pretty much get all of Long Beach together and then start to bridge that northwards into inland LA County, South LA, bringing in some of our South LA LGBTQ plus communities that are often overlooked, but without infringing on our VRA considerations of some of our partners. So this is how we're able to configure that to best accommodate the LGBTQ plus community with our intersectional identities. I'm now going to hop over to the Coachella Valley, primarily talking about the Palm Springs, Rancho Mirage, Cathedral City, Palm Desert, and Indio region that has long been a long-standing LGBTQ plus community. Here we see a heat map that's a little bit zoomed out, but it shows the heavy concentration of LGBTQ plus folks in this Coachella Valley that extends outwards into the desert communities. So when we're drawing a congressional district, we do have to draw a very large, but we are thankful to be able to draw this in connection to Imperial County, and that is because El Centro has its own LGBT center, but works closely with our Coachella Valley in terms of health services for our trans and gender nonconforming community. So it's great to be able to connect that interest here to empower both of these LGBTQ plus communities that may seem geographically divided, but are united in some of the services that they seek. For our assembly districts, we are able to focus on the Coachella Valley, draw an assembly district that no longer divides this community and the LGBTQ plus community in half, but brings it all together into one greater Coachella Valley and Desert Communities Assembly District. And for our Senate district, we're able to do that as well, making sure that we keep everything whole and then bringing that out into Blythe, Needles, 29 Palms, making sure that we have the desert communities included into a more understanding and accurate representation of what this community interest lies in. And it's great to see the LGBTQ plus community centered there. And similar to San Francisco, San Diego has seen much success in LGBTQ plus leadership thanks to fair and equitable redistricting. Very recently, we have seen many LGBTQ plus leaders, as been seen here. And much of that has been because of the region of the Hillcrest and the surrounding Balboa Park neighborhoods of University Heights, North Park, Golden Hills, South Park. Essentially everything that encapsulates the Balboa Park region has been an incubator for LGBTQ plus mobilization and civic leadership. And so when we were drawing LGBTQ plus districts that empower the community, we have a congressional district that extends eastward, capturing the full LGBTQ plus community of this Hillcrest, University Heights, North Park region, and extends into La Mesa and Chula Vista without too much infringing on our Latinx population that is going to be kind of formed here in the VRA districts. And then for our assembly districts, we're able to extend westward, again, making sure that we protect our Latinx districts and not infringe there, but still understanding the intersectional identities of the LGBTQ plus community and our racial and ethnic backgrounds. But we extend westward, including Del Mar, Coronado, and Imperial Beach for our assembly district. And I'll quickly just jump to Senate districts. I heard a time call out. So with our Senate districts, again, we keep the core LGBTQ plus community held completely together and extend throughout most of the natural city boundaries of the city of San Diego. And so that is my presentation of our LGBTQ plus community maps. And we hope the 2021 Redistricting Commission continues to recognize the LGBTQ plus community as a community of interest. And thank you so much for your time and wish you all the luck as you continue to draw your lines.
Thank you so much for that great presentation.